Now we are going to conduct some hypothesis tests about means. The last section we talked about proportions. Now we're going to work on hypothesis testing for means. So this first one said, a random survey of 75 death row inmates revealed a mean length of time on death row as 17.4 years with a standard deviation of 6.3. If you're conducting a hypothesis test to determine if the population mean time on death row could likely be 15 years, what would the null and alternative hypothesis be? Well, we would use the mean is equal to 15, right? And I don't see more than or less than here. So that's going to be our claim here. So then what's the alternative? Well, if the claim is equals, then the alternative will be that it's not equal 15. Because we're claiming that it is 15, or that it could likely be 15. So then the alternative is going to be that it's not. We're going to use a significance level of 0.05. We're now going to use the mean tab in Excel to find the test statistic and the p-value. So when you look over in our Excel spreadsheet, sorry, let me show you where this is. So when you're looking at the whole spreadsheet, you've got your proportions tab, which we were working with previously, and then the next one over is hypothesis testing for means. And we need some information. Well, we know our null hypothesis is going to be equal to 15. So then the alternative is going to be that it is not 15. So we change that to not 15. And then we need some information. Our sample mean, our sample standard deviation, our sample size, and our significance level. So it tells us the sample mean is 17.4. The sample standard deviation was 6.3. Our sample size was 75. And the alpha value was 0.05. So we're going to plug those in. 17.4. 6.3, whoops, 75, and 0.05. So let's fill in these values. Our t-score, or our test statistic, is, let's round this 2 decimal places, it's going to be 3.30, so it's 3.30. Our p-value is 0, let's round this 4 decimal places, 0.0015. So 0.0015. Sometimes a homework problem might ask you for a critical t-value. Those are listed right here. There are 2 of them. Since we are doing an equal sign, this is called a two-tailed test. So it's negative 1.99 and positive 1.99. And finally, now we're going to draw our conclusions. Remember to go ahead and take a look at that flow chart, because that flow chart that we referred to, let me scroll up and show you guys. This one right here still applies for means. So we're going to use this chart right here in the same way. Now, is our p-value less than or greater than our alpha value? Our p-value is 0.0015. Our alpha value is 0.05. This time we can see that p is less than alpha. Since p is less than alpha, we will say we reject the null hypothesis. The original claim here was H0, right? We were claiming that it was 15. So we're going to use the same language again. So formally we've rejected the null hypothesis. So that means we can reject the claim. Ooh, and this has something about new balls. Let me clean this up. Okay, so I deleted that. Let's just go ahead and write the claim correctly. So we're going to say there is not sufficient evidence or I'm sorry, there is sufficient evidence to reject the claim. That the average time on death row is 15 years. We don't know what it is. It could be something, it could be more than, it could be less than. We just know it's not 15. So when the null hypothesis is our claim, we are either saying it is a value and or it's not. In this case, we're saying it's not 15 years.